Welcome back, family. Let's get right back into it, man. This is part 2 of that Worlds Beyond the Poles. No forest on the flat earth. I know. Perception is everything. When we really see what's happened to our habitat. That's why it's so important to, be able to visualize our habitat. It's not just about this, other type of, search or this other. You have to know what the Creator put around you here. You say you want to go to a mountain, but what if I told you that mountain is a tree? How does that change your perspective of the mountain? How does that change your perspective of a Mount Zion? If you understand, is this a tree stump? And is it a tree Zion? How does that change your perspective when you deal with that mountain? Do you deal with it as a mountain of stuff or as a living organism containing data, containing records? You know what I'm saying? So we're getting back to it, man. Love to get into the root of it all. Yeah, this king got a quick drop, man. Let's go ahead and, get it right. Let's go ahead and get it right. Got the vibrations going, man. I see you, King.
Deuteronomy 28. And it shall come to pass, if thou wilt indeed hear the voice of Higher, to observe and do all of these commands, which I charge thee this day. Higher shall set thee on high above all the nations of the earth. 2. And all these blessings shall come upon thee, and shall find thee, if thou wilt indeed hear the voice of Higher. 3. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. 4. Blessed shall be the offspring of thy body, and the fruits of thy land, and the herds of thy oxen, and the flock of thy sheep. 5. Blessed shall be thy barn, and thy stores. 6. Blessed shalt thou be in thy coming in, and blessed shalt thou be in thy going out. 7. Higher delivered thine enemies that withstand thy utterly broken before they face. They shall come out against thee one way, and thou shalt flee 7 ways from before thee. 8. Higher send upon thee his blessings in thy barns, and all on which thou shalt put thine hand, in the land which Higher gives thee. 9. Higher raised thee up for himself a holy people, as he sware to thee fathers, if thou wilt hear thy voice of Higher, and walk in all his ways. 10. And all nations of the earth shall see thee, that the name of Higher is called upon thee, and thou shalt stand in awe of thee. Higher shall multiply thee for good in the offsprings of thy body, and in the offsprings of thy cattle, and in the fruits of thy land, and on the land which Higher swore to thy father to give thee. Higher open to thee has good treasure, the heaven, to give rain to thy land in season. Many he bless, all works of thy hands shalt thou lead to many nations, but thou shalt not borrow, and thou shalt rule over many nations, but thou shalt not rule over thee. 13. Higher make thee head and not the tail, and thou shalt then be above, and thou shalt not be below. If thou wilt hearken to the voice of Higher in all things that I charge to thee this day to observe. 14. Thou shalt not turn aside aside from any of the commandments which I charge thee this day, to the right hand or to the left hand, to go after other gods to serve them.
They shall not turn to any other gods or leave these commandments. That is the rule of the playground that was built for you. And you've been taught by other people that your commandments are done. So now that's the law of the land, right? Bunch of Americans walking around saying the commandments are done. But these Americans don't fit the 1828 copper color races definition in the 1828 Webster dictionary, where it says the copper color race is found here. Now they fit the second definition. The Europeans born here are now called European, American, and the American found here, the copper color race, according to the 1828 Webster dictionary. These copper color people no longer are even considered American. They're African American. No, you copper color that was found here have commandments that never left you, and a creator that would never leave you. So as we go forward, I want to keep it focused and know that whatever we talk about is only about the creator. If we're talking flat earth, so to speak, we're talking about the habitat of the creator, the melanated true earth plane, man. Love to the MTEP group, man. You know what I'm saying? We got it popping on Facebook. I know everything's still popping in that room, man. The melanated true earth plane. Check them out on Facebook, man. A bunch of brilliant brothers and sisters in there just building on this topic. And really miss these guys on Facebook. I mean, that's that's the one thing that might get me back to Facebook is my MTEP associates, man. So love to the melanated true earth plane, and that's all we're gonna do, man. Is get deeper into the creator's environment today. So love to getting to the root of it all for that beginning, starting us off in the right frequency. I'm gonna keep that vibration going, man. He must be in that library, man. He sound like he in that library. Y'all check out all the latest drop. There's some more drop on this No Forced. Alright. Again, you see some canon thing, right? I see a tree that was broken. I see a tree stump that used to go as high as you can imagine. Trees, broken trees, but we'll get into it. King Select's Will, man, got the Pokemon Gamer drop. This stuff is turning people's minds inside out. They're seeing other spectrums that, you know, they're not used to being merged with. So now they're getting merged in their mind, and it's dragging them deeper into the illusion. Check out that drop, man. Alright, more flat drop. James Bond. More getting to the root. The king is just coming with hot flames. Flame on Dylan. The Spanish-English rivalry in the Caribbean. Dig on it. Alright. More. Mo. Gotta have Mo. I mean, it's just that real. We're gonna get into finishing out the rest of what we were getting at last time. 'Cause I know we didn't finish, and then I want to get back into Worlds Beyond the Pole. Alright, so let's go to flat drop. Remember, if you need to find anything quick, everything's categorized here for you. So you want to find anything on the flat earth, anything of that stuff, it's all in flat drop. Alright, you want to find the health, you go to health drop. You want to find some gamer stuff, some funny stuff, you want to find everything Francisco's dropping, everything we catch, boom, it's right there. Hezekiah, J Stu, Infinite Waters, you know what I'm saying? I mean, Kitty drop, we're trying to build that up. So let's get to the flat drop, keep it pushing. Just make it accessible, so we can always get the drop 24/7, no matter if YouTube's up or down. We're gonna keep building over here, man. All right, here we go. Flat drop, flat drop. All right, let's go here. No, not that one. Come on, internet. Yeah, so flat drop, no force on the flat earth. Oh, no, that's the other one actually. Which one do I want? This one right here. So let's finish this one out. I'm gonna try to be quiet. Let's get it to right where we left off at. Let's go here.
Ancient giant quarry wastes in the background. Are you impressed by this?
Right
Where
about
house
here.
is standing. And now very important photo of Ingerman's quarry, the name Champagne, made in 1890. You can clearly see cutted passageways through the rock, 100 meters in width.
So again, we're looking at giant trees that were cut down, whether they were cut down by some fallen angel technology, some other giant machinery we got, but these things were sliced and diced. And just imagine, I mean, you see why everything was so much larger with so much, you know what I'm saying? I was talking to my brother Uno, getting to the root of it all. He was breaking down the oxygen content. So if you could imagine the oxygen that this little tree stump would produce, and all these other trees that we think are just mesas and, you know, other type of cliffs and salt flats, and these are all trees that were just destroyed at some time. Whether that links with the Atlantis destruction, whether that links with whatever, but these trees are no more. You don't see a forest anymore. You just see tree stumps and little brushes that we call trees today, but they're just little brushes next to these giant trees. And you can see the size, you know what I mean? It's just amazing as they use these as caves and caverns now.
80 meters in height. Under the vertical wall we can see small pieces of limestone and limestone crumb that fell off because of working saw machine. In the cutted holes we can clearly see houses. Some of these holes are beginnings of catacombs. Some of them extend for hundreds of kilometers. It's conducted a large-scale underground mining of limestone. In the days of the Second World War, in the catacombs were hospitals, warehouses, headquarters. Trucks freely drive in and out of these catacombs. By the way, there are ancient catacombs at any city of the world. Near Odessa, catacombs' length is 2,500 kilometers.
Wow.
Everything they tell us as rocks, canines.
Now, we've seen stuff like this all our lives, right? And it's like, oh yeah, it's a giant mountain thing, but it's kind of flat. No, it's a tree. It's a tree. This is a tree stump that was sawed off by something, some technology that sawed off all of our trees or broke them. Mount Everest is a tree stump. Can you imagine the size of your trees in real forest? Can you imagine the size you would be if you had more oxygen? Like getting to the root of it all said, with more oxygen, things are much larger. You put more oxygen here, our bodies, everything is stronger, right? So they took our oxygen, we shrink, we get more feeble. We don't understand how they built the things back then because we just can't imagine the strength that we would have if we had more oxygen. They cut down the oxygen, they cut you down. This is a declare of war against you. Declaration.
Cliffs are just nothing more than a quarry. There are very old quarries over there and many fresh ones. This is White Rock in the Belogorsk near Crimea. It is a limestone quarry. The wall was formed as a result of the cut slope of the hill.
So this was a tree, but you see how they use the machines and you see all these tracks. Look at all these tracks from the machine. So this is just a giant quarry now, but that was once a tree stump. And now they use it to mine and get all the minerals. And remember, these are silicon trees, so this is how they got their iron. All this stone that's left around here You got to remember, there was no stone prior to what, 7,000 something years ago. So all this stone came from these trees. All the rocks on earth come from these broken trees. When they say we have, one stone megalith, and all this was carved out of one large super ton stone, well, these are the fibers of the tree. These are silicon trees. These are, trees that have precious metals, and you understand. So they mine these things for riches. They mine them for the metals. Everything off your periodic table is coming out of these trees that were cut down and mined. And now they're quarries. Look at the Grand Canyon, one big quarry. It used to be trees, giant trees in the Grand Canyon. Now it's just quarry and waste from the tree stumps and all the digging in there looking for gold and metals and everything else.
Want to see more? Look at the passage from which a huge mass of limestone was taken. They lie to you.
Look at all
That's
that.
how they call it. They call it Valley, beautiful wonder of the earth. Check this out. This is old photo from 19th century. Mound at the vertical wall of limestone chips, not yet overgrown with vegetation. This is old painting from 1855. We can see ancient giant quarry wastes in the background. Are you impressed by the scale of the mining just in little Crimea? I want to tell more. There is.
And this links up, I think, also with the, Let Us Find the Truth was kicking the Sumerian tablets and, saying all these things that these deities, they were mining for gold here. They were mining things. They were cutting our trees and our habitation and mining things. So, however it links up, I think it links up all over the place. But it's all a confederacy against nature. It's all a confederacy against Heya. It's all a confederacy against you. Because they do this, but, they continue to cut you down in the process as well. You don't benefit from this. You don't benefit from this. Without your trees, what are you? Look at yourselves. Look at the sky. Without our trees, what are we? So this is very important. You got to see we're walking amongst a disaster zone.
No cubic feet of land, probably 100 meters deep over the entire earth, which would not have been in its times mined, milled, masticated, and discarded. It is not a planet, but a giant quarry waste pit, where the most violent and barbaric way the whole periodic table of Mendeleev is extracted.
The entire periodic table is coming from what they're calling this quarry waste, or them cutting down your trees and your vegetation. Not just the trees, the entire ecosystem has been destroyed. You think your trees now, you're getting all your air from the little brushes. You're not getting your air from trees anymore. You're getting it from the brushes. The little, the little things that we call trees now are just the brushes of these real trees. We don't get the real thing no more. All the elements.
And now look at these photos and pay attention to the tight structure of the quarries and mines. Rotor excavators, tight cuts massives.
Look at that.
It's formed structure with right angles and viewed from above. And now I want to show you the rocks, ridges, gorges, canines, cliffs, and almost uninhabited nowadays places with different romantic names. Often they are named by the name of their discoverer. Are all academics and professors of geology and other scientific nerds do not see it? Mountain on the Kolan Peninsula, do not know the name. Mountains on Antarctica that were only discovered in 1820. Antarctica. Here even left the traces of the heavy machines and equipment. Greenland, Watkins Mountains. Look at the scale of mining. Greenland, flight Frankfurt, Los Angeles. Gangbjorn, the highest mountain in the Greenland, 3,700 meters. No problem, almost completely got it. Svalbard, Norway, Aurora Borealis, in the background of Quarry, Antarctica,
All those machines.
Transantarctic mountains. At the foot, traces of the machines are still visible. Antarctica, Transantarctic mountains, Quarry system. Pay attention to the background. Mount Kailash, Tibet. The height is 6,638 meters high. Have you ever seen that in our time?
Now you might say, why? Why all this, mining and digging? Well, where do you think all the iron comes from and all the stone to build all these cities and sidewalks and bridges? You think just rocks and stone organically just grow on the earth, or are they the fibers and they make up some of the components of these silicon trees? A large portion of them. So they are mining tree stumps to get whatever building materials or precious metals they need. And all you see is just a bunch of waste all over the place. Sometimes you'll see a mountain that's not a tree stump, it's just piles of waste. And then they call it some type of nuclear situation. Well, now it's a volcano. All the damn nuclear waste that's just piling on top of each other. Alright, so we're opening our eyes to the trees.
Heavy mining equipment were raised to such heights. Goblin Valley, State Park, Utah, USA.
Utah.
Gross Mountains, State Park,
Oklahoma.
USA. Grand Canyon, Arizona,
Okay.
USA. It is just giant quarry waste, gutted territory.
All those machines.
Millions of tourists think that it is almost a miracle of the world because they were told so. Quarry, Grand Canyon, Arizona, USA. Nowhere we can find traces of water erosion, only the shock explosive impacts on the silicon vegetation.
Now that your eyes are open, can you see the trees? Can you see the trees? Can you see the tree stump? Do you understand what this used to be? And look at what these machines have done.
Quarry, Rocks, Spitsbergen. Quarry, Grand Canyon. The cut of the stone with circular saw. Quarry in Australia, Blue Mountains. Blue Mountains from another angle. Blue Mountains, the vertical wall. Compare it with the marble quarry in the Alps. Has not yet been subject by water and erosion. And this is marble mining in the Alps. Giant quarry. Do not know where. This photo is offered as a wallpaper on the desktop across the internet. Cap Rock, Canyons State Park, Texas. Again, a national park created from the exhausted quarry waste in USA. In some quarries where much moisture, people do farming. Vinave, rice terraces. Again, Vinave, rice terraces. And this is Canyon de Chile, National Monument, USA. There the source apparently did to Navel, so-called Painted Hills in Oregon, mountains, ravine, South Africa, Orange River and mountains. National Park in Israel, just a quarry, Tam. Quarry, Green Canyon in China. Flooded quarry, Charak Reservoir in Uzbekistan. Flooded quarry, another angle. As you see, there are no natural so-called rocks, gorges, canyons, cliffs, ravines on this planet. You know, while people argue on the internet how flat the earth is, like a pancake, or maybe a little concave, our masters literally devouring our home and turning it into a desert and scrapyard. Guess what? It appears that there are quarries on our planet the size of several countries. For example, in Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Afghanistan, Kazakhstan, Iran. There is almost no soil in the most part of these countries, with 100 meters layer with soil and all living things on it.
That's a lot of digging. You gotta, man, like how long did this take? I mean, if these machines were this, I mean, we've seen some of the modern ones, but you gotta understand, man, Thoth and them had their own machines, right? These angels had Atlantis and all these man-made islands that were built by Poseidon in Greek mythology. You gotta think, man, if they were building man-made islands, of course, they can take down your trees. Of course, the Most High, if he gives them order over you for a time because you're in chaos, then hey, bye-bye with the trees. Of course, the Most High can restore your trees with just a voice, a breath, right? So our trees are coming back, but now we have to at least mourn for them. These giant quarries, when you understand, there's no organic, rock formations and all that. This is a blast disaster zone. You're just looking at a disaster zone. That used to be a live tree that's been quarried out. Now you say, oh, look at this rock formation. Look at all these rocks. I wonder how they got here. I wonder how they got like this. I don't know, all these angles. Come on, man. We're not stupid no more. Now we can see. That spirit of stupor has been lifted. We can see our trees. Almost.
It looks like the Aral Sea and the Caspian Sea are just giant flooded quarries. Yes. All areas in the world that is painted yellow on Google Maps are the bottoms of quarry wastes. Uzgurt Plateau in the middle of the picture is group of the cars. If you fill this quarry with a layer of water 15 meters high, you will get the analogy of the Sea of Azov. And this is Sea of Azov, flooded old quarry. The bottom is smooth as a table on which rotor excavators rolled. The maximum depth is 15 meters. Perhaps thorium was mined here. The edge of the Karakum Desert, the area of 350,000 kilometers squared. The impression that planetary reaper worked here. In reality, quarry for the list of population, Kanayan Yangikala, the wonder of the world, Turkmenistan. In reality, quarry for the population, Plateau Tuzbar, Kazakhstan, USA, Monument Valley, previously.
Can you see the trees now? Before you look at this and it's like a bunch of kind of a mountain rock thing, and it's like, all right, I guess they're mountains. You accept it like a child, right? But a child is able to see. Oh, that's not a tree. That's a tree. Look how this one was just snapped off. Some of these were just snapped off. Some were flatter, like they were cut. And then it was quarried out and mined for all the resources. Disaster zone. Oh, national park.
This area was several hundred meters high, up to the stumps of the silicon trees in the background. Same Monument Valley, USA. Namibia. This desert is bottom of the quarry. Egypt. Top layer is scraped out with soil and all living things on it, also burnt by nuclear blasts. Most part of the Australia is cutted and scraped almost completely. No soil, only red desert left. Australia. Nigeria, desert. The conclusion is deserts are 100% artificial They emerged as a result of long-term mining activities. Even more, you can easily and safely replace the words canyons, gorges, rocks, ravines, plateaus, a mountain lake, just a simple lake in your vocabulary to the words quarry, mine, flooded quarry, and flooded mine. Krivoboria in Russia. Krivoboria in different angle. In the middle of this island, overgrown with bushes, stood rotary excavator. Creax do one in Switzerland. Obviously the work of rotary excavator. Siberia, Anabari quarry. And now look at this. This is piles of waste rock in Donbass. Their height sometimes reaching 300 meters.
So you'll see this and say, oh, that's a mountain. Maybe that's a pyramid. Maybe that's just a mound. Hey, some of these are just piles of waste from the trees. What he just kicked, that all the sand in terms of the deserts are just accumulations of all this mining and this, shit. Hey, anything's clever at this point, man. But this is waste. And this is your earth that it's being done to. So if you don't feel your earth, if you can't mourn for your earth, but you want to go to Utah. You can't mourn for your earth, but you want to go to that mountain. We got to get to this mountain. The mountain is looking at you like, you don't even know what I am. You can't even vibrate with me. You can't even mourn for me. What do you mean you're going to communicate with me? You don't even know I'm a tree. You don't know who I am. So we need to know. We need to know our habitat. It is us. We are it, right? Adam created here from the earth. But you don't mourn from what you are. You have power over creation. Fire, water, air, land. Everything you are made of, you have dominion over. As the image of the Creator, the signature, the frequency of the Creator, you have dominion over fire, water, air, land. So you can talk to the mountain. You can talk, to the wind. But not if you don't know. You got to vibrate to communicate. A couple more minutes.
Are chemical reactions. They burn, and sometimes they even explode when they accumulate excess pressure. And some more. And now, let me introduce to you, this is just a pile of waste called Vesuvius in Italy, 1,281 meters high. But science nerds will tell you that this is volcano because it's burning, and even once it's exploded. What a story! How people buy into it is beyond me. And now, look at the biggest piles of waste that officially called terracons or volcanoes on our planet.
Piles of waste.
This is terracon in Fujiyama, in Japan. People, if you think that our masters lie to you, you are still sleeping. If you think that the earth is flat, you are half awake. We live on a desert and giant quarry that we are turning into a scrapyard. Since we can no longer trust anyone, what does the Bible say about this?
Okay. So he said all that for an hour and 17 minutes. And he's going to end it with scripture. Now, he doesn't probably understand, like he said, you might understand the word is flat, but you're only half awake if you don't understand who the habitat is for. If you've been told, oh, it's for everybody, well, then you're half away. Yes, it's for the remnant of all those that choose up. But choosing up means choosing order. And when you choose order, you have to choose truth. And when you choose truth, you understand that this playground was specifically designed for a seed, a remnant of a seed that will be redeemed from the destruction. Who is this seed? Will you follow who was destroyed? Who is now waking back up to take their rightful place? Who was last in this kingdom? Oh, don't get colorblind now. Who was last in this kingdom? Who's been called every byword and told they come from everywhere else, that no one knows who they are or where they come from? Come on. Who's the seed that was destroyed? Now we match it up. Now we see why. Rule number 1. Don't ever put any power before me. Don't boast above the Most High. This might happen to you. Everyone's got to witness it. So you think, oh, the earth is flat. Cool. Well, now, who's it for? In all the atrocities, you realize, damn, I can't leave. I must stand up and be responsible for my ancestors. If they fucked up and they did anything to assist in the destruction of the seed of the Creator, who built this place for his seed and said, yeah, everyone can play as long as they respect the rules, as long as they respect you. They can't come over here as branches and boast above the root of the tree. No one cares about Israel no more. Oh, they're gone. The laws are done. Everything's done. No one cares no more. Well, we care. And now that we start caring, everybody now wants to get grafted in. Oh, great. I read that this might happen. Well, you're going to have to swallow a big load of truth. And you're going to have to be responsible for what's happened to this earth, what's happened to the children. You might feel like you're far from it, but you've only been lied to that you're far from it. Everyone has benefited, many have benefited, should I say. Many have benefited, without even thinking that they're benefiting from the system. They're over here prancing around, America, America. I'm just going to go to Beverly Hills and have lunch with my friend. All this lifestyle can only exist after the murder and slaughter of not only the trees, but of the actual indigenous people who own the land of Beverly Hills, who own the land of all these places by birthright, whose parents were slaughtered and babies mutilated and eaten and eaten and eaten, and people were eating for you to go eat. We had to get our asses eaten for you to eat and have lunch over there and over here and walk around like it's yours, and you ignore the birthright of places. You have a short attention span. You say, I'm here now. My parents migrated X, Y, and Z. It's a free country. Everybody can go wherever they please. And then, can you go back 1,000 years with that attitude? Can you go back 500 years with that attitude? Right now, can you just walk around any place and say it's mine? So how does this fit? Right now, you take a plane ticket to Zambia, take a plane ticket to Moscow, and say, nope, I'm American, now I'm Russian. It's mine. They'll say, we are already here. So if you come over here and say it's mine, what is the difference? Oh, suddenly the rules don't apply in America. It's for everybody. Hundreds of millions of people had to get slaughtered for you to be tricked or to loosely, willingly accept that it's for everybody. This is somebody's land, people. These children were enslaved on this land. These children will be redeemed on this land. And if you're caught in between a rock and a hard place, just know that there are no rocks. They're just trees. So breathe with me, all right? So there are no forests on the flat earth, man. Let's keep that vibration going. Let's get back in that library. Let's feel good today, man. Let's feel good today. I mean, don't sweat the technique. It's just true.
Welcome to Swag Frequency.
Get your ass in swag frequency, man. I mean, everything we're saying, it just makes sense, right? Because the documentation is here. I mean, this is the Biblioteca de Sevilla in Colombina. This is the documentation of Christopher Columbus. And what did Columbus say about America, since you think I'm tripping? America's for everybody. This is the beginning of the book or collection of authorities, sayings, opinions, and prophecies concerning the need to what? Recover the holy city. Where, Columbus? And Mount Zion. Mount Zion too? Where, Columbus? And the discovery and conversion of the islands of the Indies. Where? Indies. And of all peoples and nations. For who? Ferdinand and Isabella, our Spanish rulers. Oh, you still don't think? He talking about you. I mean, this is why we have this up here. This is why we do this. Let me get this up here. This is from Columbus explained the project and asked for assistance. So he's asking for assistance in September 13, 1501. Reverend and very devoted father. Yes, Columbus. What I came here to Granada, which is here. He's not talking about the Spanish Granada. There's another Granada here in America. I began to collect in a book excerpts from authoritative sources, authorities that seem to me to refer to Jerusalem. So in America, he's collecting sources that refer to Jerusalem. I plan to review them later and to arrange them appropriately. Then I became involved in my other activities, killing, and did not have time to proceed with my work, nor do I now. And so I am sending the book to you so that you can look at it. Perhaps your soul will motivate you to continue the project of our Lord and he'll guide you to genuine authorities. So they're looking for the actual, the scrolls, man. These people were collecting authorities on you, your writings. Then you got King James coming in 1603, getting your writings. This is 1501, 100 years earlier. Then he wrote the 1611 or authorized it, right? All that is in these books for you. In the library for you. But let me not get wishy-washies. Let's go back to Worlds Beyond the Poles and keep reading, keep getting to it. Worlds Beyond the Poles. Chapter 1. Let's go. Chapter 1. Extrasensory perception, a 1-minute express to the universe about us. This is reality. It is truth. Stranger than any fiction the world has known. There is no physical end to the Earth's northern and southern extent. Right away, he gets right into it. There's no physical end to the Earth's northern or southern extent. The Earth merges with land areas of the universe about us that exist straight ahead beyond the North Pole and South Pole points of theory. That's just theory. North and South Pole points of theory. So he says the earth merges with land, areas of the universe, all about us, that exist straight ahead beyond the North Pole and South Pole points of theory. It is now established that we may at once journey into celestial land areas by customary movement on the horizontal from beyond the pole points. It is also known that the flight course from this earth to connecting land area of the universe about us, which appears up or out from the earth, will always be over land and water and vegetation common to this earth area of the universe whole. Never need we shoot up, as popular misconception demands, to reach celestial land existing under every luminous area we observe at night. On the contrary, we will move straight ahead and on the same physical level. So you don't got to go up at all from either of, what does that say, theories, imaginary pole points. Confirmation of such a flight course is had in that of the something S Navy Task Force of February 1947, which penetrated 1,700 miles beyond the North Pole Point and beyond the known Earth. Additionally, and more recent confirmation was acquired by the flight of a U.S. Navy air unit on January 13, 1956, which penetrated 2,300 miles over land beyond the South Pole. There is no space whatsoever between areas of the created universe. No space whatsoever. Illusion of seclusion. Man, just dig on it. I'm going to keep reading and you just dig on it. You know what I mean? Research this. But there must deceptively appear to be space in all observations. That apparent space results from the illusionary globularity and isolation of celestial sky areas. Isolation of the celestial sky areas. The same illusionary conditions have been proved to develop from observation of luminous outer sky areas of the terrestrial. Outer sky means the sky as it is observed against stratospheric darkness. All right. The concept that the universe is comprised of globular and isolated bodies originated from the curvature that is developed by all lenses. So they develop these lenses, man, just to, cross you over. And that lens developed curvature fosters the deception appearance of globular and isolated bodies comprising the universe. The bodies are illusionary. The ancient conclusion of Galileo Galilei that luminous celestial areas are isolated from each other and are circling or ellipsing in space was founded on the inescapable errors of lens functioning. The circling movement apparent to Galileo is an illusion in an endless land and sky universe of reality. The undulated or billowing or luminous sky gas enveloping the entire universe must deceptively appear as a circling or eclipsing movement. The deceptive appearance develops from the fact that such gaseous sky movement is detected by a circular lens. Hence, there is necessarily reproduce the circular and therefore globular appearing lens image. Under the mobile sky gas, which extends throughout the celestial realm, there is undetectable but very factual land, water, vegetation, and life like that common to this earth. So under the mobile sky gas, which extends throughout the celestial realm, there is undetectable but very factual land, water, vegetation, and life like that common to this earth. Therefore, the so-called stars and planets of astronomical designation are in reality lens produced apparently globular and isolated areas of a continuous and unbroken luminous celestial outer sky surface. All right, so just think for a second. When these people are worshiping Saturn and they're worshiping Mars and all these wandering stars, and they're putting their energy and vibration towards these stars, they're not terraformer stars we're talking about. They're actually land masses, the celestial, the higher heavens, land masses in which these deities live at. And they are worshiping these deities that live on these terrestrial, or you know what I'm saying, these land masses. But you don't take a rocket to get there. You can, I mean, you know what I'm saying, you don't have to go up. It's literally straight in whatever direction. I know it's nothing like you've heard before. We have to be prepared to hear things as this time is unsealing a lot of things for us right now. All right. So therefore, the so-called stars and planets of astronomical designation are in reality lens produced apparently globular and isolated areas of the continuous and unbroken luminous celestial outer sky surface. It envelopes every land area of the celestial in the same manner that it envelopes the terrestrial land. One may question how such features were known when science was without record of them. If so, one has but to finish reading this chapter, which adequately describes how, when, and where. It was October 1926, a cold night, when he who sought the answers to the universe mysteries wandered through a woodland vale of old New England, lavish and with the scented breath of pine and birch and hemlock. There, and as if directed by some unknown force, he viewed a massive white formation of the celestial sky before it developed the luminosity which deepening twilight shadows would bring. Then it was that extrasensory perception's force was asserted, and ere darkness gripped the woodland scene, and the seeker in spirit viewed the vast unknown. Time and space became unknown as the portrait of cosmic reality was unfolded to his inner sight, unmindful of the deductions and conclusions of the centuries. That formidable inner sight penetrated through the luminous sky depth of the resplendent so-called heavens above, moving beyond the limited horizons of ordinary and standardized perception. He was privileged to witness that which the proud sense of sight and all its telescopic lens assistants, regardless of their flaunted power, had been unable to detect from the time the first crude telescope was fashioned. They can't detect this. They don't have the lenses to detect what we're talking about, the spectrum we're talking about. Everything they're telling you is a lie, is a fabrication, is an illusion to act like they're in control, to act like they know this and know that. So they tell you things to act like they're studying it and on the cutting edge of stuff. And in reality, they're just wasting black budgets, black op budgets. All right, let's go. The sensational portrait developed by extrasensory perception was of the sublime creative universe pattern, which had defied man's analysis from the unknown hour when terrestrial man first beheld the challenging celestial spectacle. And it brought realization that the then almost 1900-year-old parable, with eyes ye not see, yet believe what ye see not, should also contain the admonition that lenses pattern after the human lens will be compelled by their function to distort things and conditions seen and supposed to have been seen in the universe about us. His perception's view extended 1,000,000 miles and more beyond the mathematical boundaries. So this person's perception extended 1,000,000 miles more beyond the mathematical boundaries of a fallaciously assumed isolated globe, Earth. It penetrated through the sublime celestial domain where deceptive lights, like flashing eyes of artful courtesans, had been untold centuries beckoned and wooed terrestrial man into their enlightening embrace. But terrestrial man, misreading the luminous signals, was denied the long dreamed of pleasure of their propinquity. He had properly interpreted the signals. He would have long since acquired land areas of the universe about us. There was no misinterpretation of the signals by the seeker of 1926. He journeyed to the celestial beacons on the wings of extrasensory perceptions, limitless necromancy. Remember, we looked up necromancy. What is that? Some type of witchcraft, and whatever the case is. So, whoever this is, you know what I'm saying, he got some type of, you know, sorcery, witchcraft, necromancy, you know what I'm saying, drop to see some of the celestial stuff. That don't mean the creator gave him a vision. That means someone gave him a vision, right? That magic permitted breaking through the long established barriers of deduction. So it was magic, hypothesis, and theory. It disdainfully pushed aside the ice barriers of the terrestrial North Pole and South Pole, assumed Earth ends, and there, beyond the poles, the most fascinating creative secrets were divulged throughout the ages that had been held in sacred trust for the doubter and true seeker who ventured that way. The secrets then disclosed provided knowledge of land courses into all the land areas of the universe. Hence, to discerning consciousness, it was plainly shown that there are no ends to the earth. Afflictions, curse, is always accompanied by a certain measure of blessing. And alas, each blessing contains an element of curse. Hence, dreamers must bear the flagellation which dreams impose. Rebels must pay a price for their rebellion. They who are driven by forces obscure and extraordinary must be denied mortal contentment. Dreams that have built civilizations are magnificent obsessions, but they are nonetheless obsessions, and the obsessed cannot hope to escape the ruthless whipping of obsession. The constant driving urge of one endowed with extraordinary perception demands that the substance of such perception be displayed, defended, and protected at whatever cost, and he whose unrestrained spirit compelled the breaking of every man-made rule applied to the celestial was forced to present his astounding findings to make them interpretable to the majority, but that majority, accepting and abiding by the conclusions and dictums of established theory, always contentedly dwell within the safety of deduction's ordained realm, where finders and findings in the considered abnormal and fearful extrasensory realm are never welcome. Thus how was this pilgrim from the extrasensory world to present his gifts? So thus how was this pilgrim from the extrasensory world to present his gifts, which were readily perceived to have originated in that fearful realm? How, at a time of midnight darkness, was one to make plausible the brilliant light of noon to the majority who had never experienced that light? Moreover, the majority had absorbed the centuries' teachings which precluded any possibility of light. That which is original and is conceived beyond the limits of acceptable majority concepts need not disqualify the originator for workaday existence among the majority, for there need not be abnormality expressed in daily application to demands of the social pattern. Yet the dream, the invention, the discovery, or whatever is original is too readily designated as madness. Hence, how can the originator of such considered madness hope to woo adherents of the organized and acceptable thing or condition which is in error? Must not the majority always consider the new course revolutionary? And if the thing or condition advanced upsets centuries of teachings, must it not be viewed as an expression of one who is mad? So what is everybody programmed as soon as you say, oh, the earth is flat? You're mad, you're crazy, we're spinning on a ball. And you say, have you even thought what you're saying for a second? Have you even thought about spinning on a ball of water that's being crushed from leaving the atmosphere? This water is crushed down, but birds are just flying freely. Oh, but gravity. But gravity has never been proven. Oh, but there's gravitons. There's also density. But there's gravity. I believe in it. Then you believe in gravity. That's your God. That's the God of science. They have to believe in it. But even Einstein said he cannot prove gravity, nor can he prove any motion of the earth. So, it's time to ask questions and not be considered mad. The restless creative artist, the absorbed, absent-minded inventor, the discoverer, even the pioneer in an industrial operation may conform to the majority's social framework, but it is always a problem to introduce unwelcome findings to the majority who are absorbed in pleasing but fanciful and fallacious traditions which deny the reality of the findings. Fanciful and fallacious traditions which deny the reality of the findings. So we have all these fanciful traditions and they deny our reality. They are the illusion, a fanciful illusion. The enduring pages of history are finally etched with record of dreamer enterprise, which was diametrically opposed to the established concept of a particular time and place. But the dream helped build our civilization despite majority disdain. It was thus from the time the fool threw black dirt into an open wood fire and through such foolishness established the value and purpose of coal. He and an exclusive battalion of others represented what the majority was pleased to label crackpots, visionaries, dreamers, and madmen all. But they were the fearless experimenters and pure scientists, comprising the always ostracized civilization building clan. Their indomitable spirits were nourished by a creative nectar too potent for normal majority consumption. Such dreamers forced to dwell in spacious loneliness. Spacious loneliness. Don't a lot of y'all feel like you're in spacious loneliness because of the questions you're asking? Even your families and your parents and anybody else, your sisters and brothers and homies, is like, man, I'm gonna go ahead and mob this way, man. I'm gonna leave you, man, lonely on that thought. They may not physically say I'm bouncing, but you know, they'll switch the subject on you real quick, right? And leave you in a spacious loneliness, were with but rare exception compelled to fight alone. For it is most exceptional for members of the majority to risk their society's censure by hope and active cooperation with an impetuous pilgrim from the realm where dreams, so full of reality, are incubated. The following, therefore, may serve as a timely guide for understanding values, contributing toward civilization's development, and it may thereby permit easier comprehension of values. This work is intended to present in terms that all may grasp. Socrates, the ancient and profound philosopher, Socrates, the ancient and most profound philosopher, was considered mad, by the majority and of his time and place. And the immortal Christus, the immortal Christus, Serapis Christus, was denounced as mad on more than one occasion. All right, there you go. We must read of the strangeness of Robert Fulton, who harbored an insane idea of harnessing steam for the propulsion of boats. History also records Benjamin Franklin's insane tampering with the elements by catching lightning with his stupid kite and a key. All right, so we're in an illusion if we believe that Benjamin Franklin discovered anything. These people were rediscovering old secrets, right? So we know that. The eccentricity of Thomas Edison is recalled. His particular insane notion was that of holding powerful electricity in a fragile glass bowl to produce electric lightning. I mean, you can see even, you know what I'm saying, on the walls of, you know what I'm saying, some pyramids in Kemet, you know what I'm saying, where they got the light bulbs and all that on the walls, man. So these people want to believe that they discovered this stuff, and that's the insane part. Westinghouse had an equally insane idea of stopping a monstrous locomotive and train with nothing more formidable than the release of air. That insanity gave us air brakes. Outstanding is the Dreamer's Hall of Fame in the name of Louis Pasteur. He was not a member of the medical fraternity of his time, but he contributed to the medical science in most profound values, while followers of the medical dogma were busy castigating him for such ridiculous enterprise and mad claims. This limited review of the world's so-called essentiaries, crackpots, and impractical visionaries may be continued with mention of Alexander Graham Bell, eccentricity, his plotting perseverance provided our telephone, all right, telegraphy, what else? Telegraphy too was provided by the madness of Samuel Morse, who was guilty of the wild claim that messages can be sent through the world without the sound of a voice. So telepathy was invented by them too, I guess, man. Come on now. Come on, man. Let's keep it going. We're almost done with this particular part of the chapter. I wanted to get a certain part here. Oh, there we go. Make sure we're good. I'll make this a little bigger for you. Sorry I had it so small the whole time. I keep forgetting I can make it bigger. You just have to listen to me. Now you can read along a little better. So the entry is hardly dry on history's page regarding the right's folly. Such a term describes the majority's opinion of Orville and Wilbur Wright. Yet, while the normal majority ridiculed the new enterprise beyond the understanding, the Wright brothers threw traditions, restrictions to the winds and navigated the first crude aeroplane over the Kitty Hawk. These and an exclusive list of others who were not popular dreamed their individual dream and made that dream come true in their particular form, and compensation was to them both blessing and curse. Therefore, as we are mindful of the unchanging matter whereby life force at work sows perception seeds, so that mankind may always garner a crop fruitfully original, some guidance should be afforded for future reception of the seeds and crops. Knowledge should develop that the new and the original of any time must, because of its newness and only for that reason, be decreed by constituents of the old. The old, the traditional and established, is always the sacred cow feeding on the clover of assumption in each time's pasture and cultivated and acceptable conceptual values. Therefore, it must be preserved at any cost. The new and unknown is always fearful to the majority. The new and unknown is always fearful. It creates a fear vibration to tell people they're not spinning. The fears attending normal pursuits within an established social pattern may be dispelled or at least modified by one means or another, but the fear of that which is new and unknown and which is beyond the conditions and afflictions of the ordered pattern must disturb the conforming majority. Routine is the order of the pattern, and though it is at times fatiguing, it embraces a measure of security symbolic of safety. Hence, the new and the unknown must be in some measure resented and must always fight for a hearing. Anything new and unknown will be resented at first. And that is our human nature, right? That's what they're calling our habit. Human nature demands that belief acquired must be cherished and protected, be they ever so incomplete and faulty. My truth is the truth, so say we will. Thus, like the porcupine protecting its quills. In sensing possible danger, the majority become automatized to throw against the new and unknown the oral quill of skepticism, cynicism, and ridicule, without even hearing values inherent in the new. They fear that the new might encroach upon or upset cherished beliefs. Accordingly, with some appreciation of guiding principles making for human concepts, we may now review the early movements of this particular work's originator in his pilgrimage to make known the unknown universe of reality. Okay, we're going to get a little bit more. In the summer of 1927, the dreamer's quest led to a widely known arbiter of the mathematical universe. A gentleman benefited with quarters in one of the famous ivy-draped buildings of a New England university. After hearing only an introduction to the then unknown conception that in a realistic view of the universe there is no planetary isolation and that there are no ends of the earth, the keeper of that mathematical universe vociferously exclaimed, "What? Would you have me doubt my senses?" Tranquilly came to the response. "Yes, since it is established that your sense of sight deceives you, that sense in particular should always be subjected to brain sight, where all true seeing is had. Not with your eyes, but with your brain. Remember, your eyes are not perceiving anything but light. And then, encoded in your brain is what translate that signature of light into, oh, that's a TV, that's a laptop, that's a tree." So we have to be programmed in the sense of how to accept these particular light spectrums, and that's what the programming does. All right? So the brain sight, that sense in particular, should always be subjected to brain sight. You got to recode yourself. You have to, remove all of the hijack. You have to deprogram and reprogram, where all true seeing is had. The great lens manipulator knew only the mathematical universe, and he presented it as a factual universe. In blindness of rage engendered by fear of the unknown, he shouted, "Away with you! How dare you tell me there are no celestial spheres and no space between such spheres, when my telescope lens clearly detects both conditions?" Undisturbed by such reception, the youthful pilgrim departed that university's magnificent halls of yearning and sought other fields for exposition of his perception's extraordinary findings. Shortly therefore, he was graciously received in the Cardinal's Platatio mansion at nearby Brighton, Massachusetts. There, in private audience with His Eminence William Cardinal O'Connell, Archbishop of Boston, an impressive word portrait was submitted of the work then known as Physical Continuum. The work was at the time most premature, for there had not been confirmation of its sensational features. Thus, when subsequently afforded press reference, it was described as more daring than anything Jules Verne's ever conceived. In that initial 1927 recital, it was shown that the theory of isolated stars and planets is founded on illusion. I know we read a lot, but don't let that fuck you up. This is what you need to know. This is the drop. I go in to get the drop. I get the babies. Isolated stars and planets are founded on an illusion. There's nothing I can say to some people. I can say this 1,000,000 times, 100 times, one time, don't matter. And they'll still see a star as a star and a planet as a planet because of all these graphic artists that NASA spends more money hiring graphic artists than they do actually going anywhere. because a picture's worth 1,000 words, whatever. So as long as they keep painting pictures of these things for you, you're going to think that they're real. However, in the initial 1927 recital, it was shown that the theory of isolated stars and planets is founded on illusion, and it was asserted that every celestial area is definitely attached as the human legs and arms are connected with the torso. Everything's attached. Nothing's isolated. There's no space. You keep going on land and water and land and water. Water's above, water's below. There's no space. There's no isolation. Every celestial area is definitely attached as the human legs and arms are connected with the torso. It was explained that such physical attachment of celestial areas and the physical connections of celestial areas with the terrestrial are always of land, water, or ice. No space, land, water, and ice. Yes, what you see above you is also land, water, and ice. It was further disclosed how, at that time, conquest of the celestial could be accomplished by penetration of land existing beyond the imaginary North Pole and South Pole. Conquest of celestial, the stars, that you can conquer the stars simply by penetrating the land existing beyond the imaginary North Pole and South Pole, or the true geographic centers of the supposedly isolated globe, Earth. So you can go through the center or by penetrating the land. Such movement from polar areas was described as leading directly into celestial areas appearing up or out from the Earth. Let me get this last sentence again, and we're going to meditate on that one and come back to it. It was further disclosed how at that time, conquest of the celestial could be accomplished by penetration of land existing beyond the imaginary North Pole and South Pole, or the true geographic center. What did we say Peru is? What did we say Cuzco is? The navel of the earth, the true geographic center of the supposed isolated globe, quote, quote, Earth. Such movement from the polar areas was described as leading directly into celestial areas appearing up. By going straight, they were going into a celestial area, right? The first heaven, which is only, a place of bondage for these particular energies. They're bound by the first heaven. They can't get past the firmament to the higher heavens. So they trap you in all these hijacks. And you never vibrate with your creator because you're just vibrating with the stars all day. More land and water. You can't get above the firmament like that. You can't get above the firmament like that. Alright? And we'll get the rest later, man. But I just wanted to get a good start. And then we'll get back to it. So remember where we left off. We're on page... we're on page 25. Alright? So we got that. We're on page 25. We're vibrating in the library. And how we're going to make our dismount today? How do y'all want to do it? How do we want to make our dismount today? Let's just get, you know what? How much time do we have? I'm going to get a little of this, and I'm going to get something else. Go ahead. Let's go. Now, we're going to compare this with Scripture. We're gonna not compare, you know what I'm saying, but we're going to add this together. We're going to put this together with Scripture. That's even better. So we're going to read from the Book of Baruch, right? The Apocrypha. Reference was that flat Earth and no forest. So we've been reading about watching and learning about these forests. We've never seen real forests. We've only seen the little brushes and Brussels and whatever you want to call them, little twigs. Those are twigs compared to the trees. But now let's get some Baruch and see what really happened to our forest according to the writings of our fathers.
I fell asleep there, and I saw a vision in the night. And lo, a forest of trees planted on the plain, and lofty mountains surrounded it, and precipitous rocks. And that forest occupied much space. And lo, over against it arose a vine, and from under it there went forth a fountain peacefully. Now that fountain came to the forest, and was stirred into great waves. And those waves submerged that forest, and suddenly they rooted out the multitude of the trees of that forest, and overthrew all the mountains which were round about it. And the height of the forest began to be made low, and the top of the mountains was made low. And that fountain prevailed greatly, so that it left nothing of that great forest, save one cedar only. Also, when it had cast it down, and had destroyed and rooted out the multitude of the trees of that forest, so that nothing was left of it, nor could its place be recognized, then that vine began to come with the fountain in peace and great tranquility. And it came to a place which was not far from the cedar. And they brought the cedar which had been cast down to it. And I beheld, and lo, that vine opened its mouth, and spake, and said to that cedar, Art thou not that cedar which was left of the forest of wickedness, and by whose means wickedness persisted, and was wrought all those years, and goodness never came, and thou didst keep conquering that which was not thine? And to that which was thine thou didst never show compassion? And thou didst keep extending thy power over those who were far from thee, and those who drew nigh thou didst hold fast in the toils of thy wickedness. And thou didst uplift thyself always as one that could not be rooted out. But now thy time has sped, and thy hour is come. Do thou also therefore depart, O cedar, after the forest, which departed before thee, and become dust with it, and let your ashes be mingled together. And now recline in anguish, and rest in torment till thy last time come, in which thou wilt come again, and be tormented still more. And after these things I saw that cedar burning, and the vine growing, itself and all around it the plain full of unfading flowers. And I indeed awoke and arose. And I prayed and said, O Lord, my Lord, thou dost always enlighten those who are led by understanding. Thy law is life, and thy wisdom is right guidance. Make known to me, therefore, the interpretation of this vision. For thou knowest that my soul hath always walked in thy law, and from my earliest days I departed not from thy wisdom. And he answered, and said unto me, This is the interpretation of the vision which thou hast seen. As thou hast seen a great forest, which lofty and precipitous mountains surrounded, this is the world. Behold, the days come, and this kingdom will be destroyed which once destroyed Zion, and it will be subjected to that which comes after it. Moreover, that also again after a time will be destroyed. And another, a third, will arise, and that also will have dominion for its time, and will be destroyed. And after these things a fourth kingdom will arise, whose power will be harsh and evil far beyond those which were before it. And it will rule many times as the forests on the plain, and it will hold fast the times. And it will exalt itself more than the cedars of Lebanon. And by it the truth will be hidden, and all those who are polluted with iniquity will flee to it, as evil beasts flee and creep into the forest. And it will come to pass, when the time of his consummation that he should fall has approached, that the principate of my Messiah will be revealed, which is like the fountain and the vine. And when it is revealed, it will root out the multitude of this host. And that which thou hast seen, which was left of that forest, and with regard to this fact that the vine spoke those words with it, which thou didst hear, this is the word. The last leader of that time will be left alive, when the multitude of his hosts will be put to the sword and be bound, and they will take him up to Mount Zion, and my Messiah will convict him of all his impieties, and will gather and set before him all the works of his hosts, and afterwards he will put him to death, and protect the rest of my people, which shall be found in the place which I have chosen. And his principate will stand forever, until the world of corruption is at an end, and until the times aforesaid are fulfilled. This is thy vision, and this is its interpretation. And I answered and said, To whom will these things be, and how many will they be? Or who will be worthy to live at that time? For I will speak before thee everything that I think, and I will ask of thee regarding those things which I meditate. For lo, I see many of thy people who have withdrawn from thy covenant, and cast from them the yoke of thy law. But others again I have seen who have forsaken their vanity, and fled for refuge beneath thy wings. What therefore will be to...
Others have forsaken their vanity and fled for refuge beneath their wings. You understand? The wings of our protection. We have many protecting us. Are we fleeing away from vanity, from the illusion, from the money? Let's get a little bit more of this.
To them, or how will the last time receive them? Or perhaps the time of these will assuredly be weighed, and as the beam inclines, will they be judged accordingly? And he answered and said unto me, These things also I will show unto thee. As for what thou didst say, to whom will these things be, and how many will they be? To those who have believed there will be the good which is spoken of aforetime. And to those who despise, there will be the contrary of these things. And as for what thou didst say regarding those who have drawn near and those who have withdrawn, this is the word. As for those who were before subject, and afterwards withdrew, and mingled themselves with the seed of mingled peoples, the time of these is the former, and I am meditating deep things. And as for those who before knew not, but afterwards knew life, and mingled only with the seed of the people which had separated itself, the time of these is the former, and I am meditating deep things. And time will succeed to time and season to season, and one will receive from another, and then with a view to the consummation will everything be compared according to the measure of the times, and the hours of the seasons. For corruption will take those that belong to it, and life those that belong to it. And the dust will be called, and there will be said to it, Give back that which is not thine, and raise up all that thou hast kept until its time. Moreover, do thou, Baruch...
I'm sorry about these images. I mean, I know it's distracting. You know what I'm saying? They like to write themselves into history. Even though this goes against all science, that this one white family came out the boat and somehow there's black people today, as if a dominant gene can come from a recessive gene, scientifically speaking. Yet they put it in the films and they keep giving you images. Why? Because no matter what we say, you think suddenly, because you see an image of something that's opposite of you, that has no melanin, you know what I'm saying, that does not look like you. But if you saw images that look like you, you'd be more into it, right? So this was so that his people can be into it. But they're hijacking you. They're hijacking your history. They want to be seen as the people that everyone came from. They want to write themselves in every period of history. And you dig it up, and all you find is you. Your culture being ripped up, shredded up, syncretinized. And it should got to stop. You know, we should be able to see some truth, you know what I'm saying? But I'm going to let him finish his last particular part of the scripture. Just focus on the scripture. You know what I'm saying? Focus on this Baruch and focus on these trees.
Strengthen thy heart for that which has been said to thee, and understand those things which have been shown to thee. For there are many eternal consolations for thee. For thou wilt depart from this place, and thou wilt pass from the regions which are now seen by thee, and thou wilt forget whatever is corruptible, and wilt not again recall those things which happen among mortals. Go therefore and command thy people, and come to this place, and afterwards fast 7 days, and then I will come to thee and speak with thee. And I, Baruch, went from thence, and came to my people, and I called my firstborn son, and the Gedalites for my friends, and 7 of the elders of the people. And I said unto them, Behold, I go unto my fathers according to the way of all the earth. But withdraw ye not from the way of the law, but guard and admonish the people which remain, lest they withdraw from the commandments of the Mighty One. For ye see that he whom we serve is just, and our Creator is no respecter of persons. And see ye what hath befallen Zion, and what hath happened to Jerusalem. For the judgment of the Mighty One will thereby be made known. And his ways which thou past finding out are right. For if ye endure and persevere in his fear, and do not forget his law, the times will change over you for good, and ye will see the consolation of Zion. Because whatever is now is nothing, but that which will be is very great. For everything that is corruptible will pass away, and everything that dies will depart. And all the present time will be forgotten, nor will there be any remembrance of this present time, which is defiled with evils.
You won't even remember this, my people. So fear not. Fear not. Fear not. Put your fears aside. Just let it flow. Surf the wave. This won't even be a memory to you. You're going to be in a whole nother vibration, transition, energy. Something very great is coming for a people. And these people keep looking over these people all they want to. But put it like this. Let's say you have 2 sons and 2 daughters. And someone calls himself your friend. And they come over your house. And they just completely disregard and disrespect your children. They ignore them. They treat them nasty. Now, does this person respect you? Let's say they started slapping your children, and let's say they started lynching your children. Let's say they ate your children. Do they respect you? Now do you see? The Creator will never forget what's happened to the children that he's had a covenant with for as long as he's had the covenant with these children. He'll never, ever separate from these oaths and the covenants that he has for the redemption of his seed, based on the fact that the seed is in the image of the Creator, the frequency of the Creator. And so the Creator always has to roll with the order that is the Creator. Once you detach from your hijacks, once you choose up, you vibrate again, you return. You return. And look forward to what's to come, for what's to come will take away all the distress that you feel, you know what I'm saying, in the present time. You know what I mean?
For that which runs now runs into vanity, and that which prospers will quickly fall and be humiliated. For that which is to be will be the object of desire, and on that which will come afterwards do we place our hope. For it is a time that will not pass away, and the hour comes which will abide forever, and the new world which does not turn to corruption, those who depart to its blessedness, and has no mercy on those who depart to torment, and will not lead to perdition those who live in it. For these are they who shall inherit that time, which has been spoken of, and theirs is the inheritance of the promised time.
These are they that shall inherit the time, and theirs is the inheritance of the promised time. Who are we talking about? Who's the scripture talking about? Whether you're talking Old Testament, New Testament, the very end, is it not all about the seed? Is it one big book about a seed? Even in the hijack, you know it's all about the seed of these people. You are following the chronology of the seed. You're following with the kings, the kingdom, the rise, the fall of these kings and kingdom and family. This is a family affair. The hijack says, no, it's not. It's everybody's affair, right? Most High says, I don't change. So when did he say that? Not a hijack. When did the Creator say it was any other story than the story of his family? And the betrayal of his family towards him and of the nations towards his family. And the eventual choosing up of his family. And the salvation, literal saving from destruction of his family. And the judging of the nations. Our kingdom is forever, because we are going to vibrate in a higher frequency forever. It's not going to be another cycle of captivity for us. We are the remnant. It's done. The Most High doesn't have the stomach to stomach more destruction of his children, where they're not in their kingdom anymore. They don't have their things anymore. They think they're spinning on balls. That's horrible. We can't take that shit no more. So it's done. You've seen the judgment of his children. Don't say you haven't. You've seen the judgment. So what is coming now is what is promised. All right. So, man, shout out to Flatwater. You know, even with them images, you know what I'm saying, he does put some babies in there. Last thing I wanted to get right quick. We're going to get more into this in part 3. I'm about to make my dismount. Thank you for surfing the waves.
Welcome, swag.
You already know. And let's just get it like this. I want to check out the Abizaid. I showed you a little bit of this book. Showed you a little bit of it before, but it's time to get into this. The Enlightenment of the World by John Abizaid. Very simple book, small book. Shout out to Chippy the Chipmunk. You know what I'm saying? Dropping great sources at all times, man. Subscribe to Chippy the Chipmunk. Get the babies out the bathwater. Alright. So we read. You know, you can go back and you'll see when I dropped this before. Well, right now I want to get to chapter 2 here. I'm sorry if you can't see that well, but I'll read it to you. Okay, so this chapter here is called The Land. Okay. He says, the land is solid and all in one piece, joined together under the ocean, all over the earth. All right, under the ocean, everything's still in one piece. You have an illusion of seclusion that there's all these continents, but they're all just one giant landmass, okay? I'm from Africa. I'm from Earth. But I'm indigenous to this side of Earth, specifically. In my genes, this is where I'm supposed to be living and bonding with this particular portion of the earth. This is where I can thrive in my gene pool. I was built for this shit over here. That's why I'm from here. Other people that are not from here, they get different diseases, different things. Certain people turn leprous. We know that in scripture, right? All right. So the earth cannot be round and in motion as they claim in geographies, but flat and stationary because the water is liquid and level, and it proves that the land is flat and non-moving. Another proof which shows that the earth is standing still and not moving is to be found in the wind, which they call the atmosphere. If the earth is turning around daily, it will give wind from one direction only. Very cold work right there. They say the earth is spinning from west to east at 1,100 miles per hour, right? Yet you could take a plane from here to New York City going east as the earth is spinning away from you east. And I'm only going, 400, 500 miles per hour top speed in a commercial flight. Yet I still catch up to New York. And the earth is spinning east away from me at 1,100 miles per hour. And I'm traveling at only 500 miles per hour top, going the same direction east. How do you catch New York? Oh, you're flying with the atmosphere, brother. Come on, man. Now you got to prove this stuff, right? So if the earth is turning around daily, it will give wind from one direction only. If you see a train running, you will find out that it is giving wind in one direction. But when it stops, the wind stops with it. Nobody ever felt the wind blowing at the same rate daily, but they will feel the wind blowing at different, very hard, at times very hard, and at times very gentle, and often from different directions. And sometimes there is very little wind. This is good proof to show that the earth is stationary. If the earth was in motion in one direction, it would make the wind pressure in the same direction always. All right, you can't be spinning in one direction and then have wind go everywhere it wants to go. You got to show me some experimentation of spinning something with the wind pressure going that direction, or that train going that one direction. You don't have wind going in all these different directions. Oh, but gravity. Oh, but the atmosphere. You're spinning. If you're spinning, you're spinning. If you're on a ball, you're on a ball. All right. You will find my proofs right if you will only pause and think them over. This is another proof to show you that the earth is not moving. If, when you go up in a balloon or airship, starting from a certain place and going as high as you can, and when you come down, find that place gone from under you, then you may believe that the earth has moved. So if you go up in a balloon or something straight up, the earth should still be spinning, right? So if you come down, you should be able to land, You start in San Diego, you hover in a little helicopter, just hover over the same area, and you should be able to come down and be in China, because the earth moved. Oh no, but the atmosphere, brother, you in a helicopter, but you're still spinning at 1,100 miles per hour. Come on, man. All right, so you should be able to go up and then find that same place. Then you may believe that the earth has moved. But if you find yourself in the same place or not so far away from your starting point, then it is plain that the earth is stationary and not moving at all. And this is what really happens. If, moreover, the earth is turning around and the birds or airships are flying the same way, they will find themselves over the same place where they were before. If they fly in the opposite direction of the turning of the earth, they will find themselves flying very fast and always over different places. If you think this over, you will find these proofs correct. After all, the earth cannot be round because most of it is water, and water cannot be anything but level, as I have given proofs in chapter 1. Take a pan of water and turn it upside down, and I am sure the water will fall out. Also, if the earth turns around, the water of the ocean would destroy a great many cities, towns, and countries. But the earth cannot be turning or in motion. If it is turning, we should know it immediately because we have eyes to see, bodies to feel with, and brains to think with. They've turned off all our senses, so we don't use these things anymore. We just believe NASA, right? We just believe images. We believe our teachers. We believe our parents. We believe the system, right? Suppose you were riding in a train. Suppose you were riding on a train, car, or boat. You would know that you were on something that is shaking when the train or car goes uphill or downhill. You would easily tell, even with your eyes closed, whether it was going up or down. It's the same way with the earth. If the earth is turning around or it's in motion, we would know it from many different things, as I said before. Again, we see the same stars, the same exact pattern of constellations that our ancestors saw tens of thousands of years ago. If the star patterns haven't changed, how can you accurately say you're spinning on a ball at 1,100 miles per hour, traveling in some vacuum of space, going 67,000 miles per hour? All that movement of spinning and traveling at 70,000 miles per hour, you would have different stars and different patterns by now, buddy. Last part I'm going to get. They say that there is gravity in the earth, which holds everything on it when it turns around. They give these proofs to the people and children in school, and most of them believe such foolish things as that. Their proofs do not amount to anything, but it is all guesswork because nobody ever felt it or saw it. I was surprised to know that some people believe in things that were never seen or felt, but the things that they can see and feel, they pay no attention to. They say if you drop anything, it will fall to the ground. They only think the law of gravitation takes it down, not density, gravity, right? Oh, I'm sorry for them. They ought to know better than that. They ought to know that heavy things and all things that have no power, like dead bodies, will go down themselves. But some things have power, like a bird or light, things like smoke and so forth, and they go up, right? They're above, they lighter than the atmosphere, or any way they can. If there was a law of gravity, it would bring them down also, right? All that gravity crushing the water down will crush the smoke down, don't you think? But smoke goes up. Gravity doesn't have the power over the smoke, but it can crush millions of tons of water, right? It crushes water, but LeBron James can just fly in the air and slam dunk. If there was a law of gravity, it would bring them down also. Most of the people know up from down and ought not to believe this foolish thing. I feel sorry that the children are taught about gravity and that the earth is round and traveling around the sun, and also that the sun is larger than the earth. There is no gravity at all, for if there was, a person could not move a step. And if a bird was on the ground, it could not fly in the air again, because the gravity will hold it back. If there is gravity, it is not everywhere and cannot hold everything, such as gas, balloons, airship, etc. Here is another proof to show that the earth is flat and stationary. If the earth is round and in motion, as they claim, we should know, for when it turns around, at times we should find our heads and feet and the world above us, as though a person were standing on a ceiling with his head towards, with his head downwards and his feet upwards, right? So if the earth is round, it's in motion, then we should know because it's turning around, right? Some people are going to be upside down 1 minute. Some people are going to be on the other side of the ball. Which side of the ball are you on? That means on the other side of the ball, those people are upside down and the planes are flying upside down. Do you believe this illusion? If we were held fast to the earth by gravity or tied by ropes, we should feel it and know which way the earth is turning with us. But there is no such thing as gravity because no one ever felt it. You must not think that you are an intelligent being because you know a great many things. I'm sure that no person knows everything in the world. You ought not to believe everything that people say, that the earth is round and in motion and that the sun is stationary and larger than the earth, etc., until you have examined the facts and found out the truths and follow it. I think I have given you enough proofs to change your mind about the earth being round and in motion. You will find in chapter 3 proofs about the sun going around in a circle. Proofs around the sun going around in a circle above the earth. In other words, the sun is moving. Now they say, yeah, the sun is moving, but it's pulling us. It's going at 540,000 miles per hour, and it's pulling us, and we're still traveling at 67,000 miles per hour, going around a sun that is itself now, according to NASA, going 540,000 miles per hour, and it's just pulling us in this little vortex thing, and we still see the same damn stars from 10,000 years ago. The same patterns. Come on. All right, so use your senses. We're going to wake up. We're going to stay up. We're going to suit up. We're going to keep choosing up and making good decisions, my people. And we'll get back to this Abizaid. We'll get back to our world beyond the poles. We'll get back into our drop library, man, and keep vibrating here and just keep vibrating all over the place. The vibe suites are for you. You know what I mean? Check out, you know what I'm saying, whatever we're offering, man. Check out whatever we're dropping. I love y'all. Stay up, suit up, shoes up, swag frequency.